my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform, our platform, to become your spiritual server. And welcome, Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, and Pisces Rising, or for anybody who just wants to hang out with the Pisces Tribe, to your August 2018 report. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I'm going to dive into a bit of the cards and a bit of the astrology to see what is happening for you. What's going on, Pisces? How are y'all doing? Are y'all enjoying August so far? Has it been magical, fun, action-packed, robust, dynamic, insane, cool? That solar eclipse for you was in your 6th house, so this has to do with your day-to-day reality, your health, pets if you have any. And then this is interesting because for you, I felt like what's happening is that the universe is wanting you to integrate more magic into your day-to-day life, which is kind of interesting because you are the sign of magic. But perhaps you've been kind of feeling a little stale, so this new moon is kind of going to shake things up for you. But the other thing that's really important that I kind of want to take a note of is Venus going into Libra, which for you is the 8th house. So this has to do with, in many ways, potential relationships that may transform your life. This has to do with anything that you kind of share with other people, shared income or shared resources. But in many ways, this also has to do with, any type of taboos that you have that you might keep hidden from other people. But Venus is here kind of wanting you to indulge in these areas a bit, Pisces. So August is kind of going to be a month for you where you definitely are going to be exploring different options in your day-to-day reality that definitely makes you feel more alive and definitely kind of reinvigorates you in a sense. But let's see what we have as far as your Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle card. We have the card of change as your card. We have the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. Interesting how you get this card with this new moon that happened for you in your 6th house, which is naturally ruled by Virgo. And Virgos don't really like change, even though they're mutable earth. They don't really like change because they like to know how things are. They like to know how things are in order. And for you, Pisces, you're more of a go with the flow. I mean, you're mutable water, so you're arguably the most fluid sign of the zodiac. You deal well with change. But maybe this new moon actually has kind of forced you to kind of look at your life, your day-to-day reality, and maybe you have to make some type of change. Now, that's really going to allow you to appreciate the new, appreciate the moment, appreciate the ever-changing nature of reality, as this card says. We have the card of change. And it's interesting, if you look at the card, there are sparks and flowers over it, and there are these circles, but there's also these rigids. There's these rigid lines with these rectangles in here as well. So it's interesting. And if you continue to look at the card, it has a rainbow in there as well. So sometimes we can look at change from such a rigid point of view and not really want things to, we want things to stay the same. But then we realize that, everything is still all one. And there's still, you are still connected even though things may change. Let's see what else is here in context, because I'm really quite interested to see what is going on. That card popped out. Did you see that? We have the Knight of Wands. So you definitely are preparing for something to happen. The Knight of Wands, I like to think of it as kind of like warriors kind of being on guard, or soldiers being on guard for an impending battle. Perhaps they made it to the battlefield first. But the Knight of Wands is speaking to you kind of needing to stand your ground, but also you kind of preparing for something to happen. Perhaps you are preparing for this change that's about to occur in your life. Maybe you feel it kind of bubbling up. Let's see what else we have here, though. We have the Ace of Wands that just popped out. We also have the Knight of Swords that just popped out. And it's interesting, the way that these cards fell, I wish I could show you, but it's like I have one card just face up this way, change, and then I have another card faced up, and then these cards are turned diagonally on top of these cards. But one card, the Ace of Wands, is reversed, and the Knight of Swords is upright. So they literally kind of fell like diagonally on the cards. So it's interesting what's happening here, because the Knight of Swords is the card that fell on top of the change. So I really see this as you changing your mind on something. You changing your mind on, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be just the way things are going, but you changing your mind. And it's interesting because, you know, we do have Uranus retrograde for you in your third house of communication. And Uranus represents, you know, it represents in many ways our mind as well. It represents people and ingenuity. But in the sign of Taurus, you know, this has to do with practical things, down to earth things, you know, self-worth, value, projects, things that we find attractive, luxuries. So it's interesting how this is happening in the third house, and since Uranus is retrograde, you are really actually looking at this area of your life, and you really are adjusting the way that you communicate back to yourself about these particular values that you have. The Ace of Swords in reverse on top of the Nine of Wands is saying that perhaps you have been preparing for something, and when this thing approaches, it's almost going to kind of take the fire out of your it's going to kind of take the fire out of your wand a bit. Perhaps you've been sitting here and you're waiting for the thing to approach, and then whatever it approaches, and you kind of want to change your mind. Maybe you don't want to go forward with whatever plan this is. Maybe you realize that maybe you didn't have to prepare for some grand big thing to happen. Then the Ace of Wands here, it's saying that you kind of are altering your course of action. Let's see what else we have in store, because this is quite interesting. I'm a Pisces moon, so I can kind of feel into this, you know. You changing your course of action, changing your mind about something. What's happening here with you, Pisces? What is going on here? Okay, so these cards kind of came perpendicular. Ooh. Got a good bit of energy in these cards. I think the next time I read, though, I'm going to probably do like a clearing. So these two cards came out first, and they are perpendicular to each other. We have the Ten of Pentacles, and we also have the Moon card in reverse. So there may be some sort of sense of, maybe with the Ten of Pentacles, it speaks to financial abundance and security, right? But with the Moon card, it's talking about your emotions and your intuition. So maybe you may have been drawn to a particular situation that on the surface you would think will make you feel good about your situation. Maybe you do have a job where you make a good amount of money. Maybe you are in a relationship that seems abundant, but maybe on the inside there might be some sort of disconnect with whatever this is. So let's see what other cards we have here. We have the King of Swords in reverse, and we also have the Magician card. And the last card right here is the Nine of Swords in reverse. So what this is actually telling me, this is actually kind of nice. What this is telling me is that you definitely are altering your mind and your perception about something, but it's not nearly as bad as you think. I think you've been telling yourself stories about whatever this is, and you've been preparing. The Knight of Wands, I almost want to say that you've been preparing for some sort of, maybe a doom and gloom situation, or maybe you've been preparing for something to turn out in a way that, you know, you might have perceived as negative. The King of Swords here in reverse is saying that, you know, mentally, the thoughts might not all be there right now. And with the Magician here, it's saying that you need to inject some magic into your thought process. You need to inject some magic. You are the sign of imagination, so it shouldn't be hard for you. But since Uranus is retrograde in your third house of communication, not only that, but we do have Mercury, which is still currently retrograde in Leo, which is your sixth house. This is about you kind of looking at your day-to-day reality and you really trying to figure out what's going on. And you're kind of on this precipice of whether or not you should change your mind, whether you should just, maybe the change card is you wanting to just kind of escape from all of it and just escape into a dream world, into a dream like fantasy. The Ten of Pentacles here is saying, though, that you actually are in a really good position, but emotionally, you're trying to work through all this stuff. Maybe you feel a bit of a disconnect. The Nine of Swords in reverse, though, is saying that whatever fears and anxieties you have about the situation, they are null and void. They don't exist. and it's not something you really should be worried about. It's something you should be concerned about. Really what's happening here is that you are going through this huge mental shift right now, which is actually going to free you up to really create magic in such a beautiful way where you can actually wave your wand around and be like, okay, what do I want this morning? I want some pancakes with strawberries on top and whipped cream. Bam, and it just appears in front of you. Or let's see, what do I want to do today? Let's see, I want to manifest a new route to work today, and on this new route to work, I find a cool store that I want to go into, and bam, you manifest that. You decide to take a new route to work, you go on a little adventure, you find a cool store that you like, you go into that store, you find some cool things that you like in that store that really inspire you, or maybe you even meet someone at that store and you guys you hit it off and it's all cool. That sort of thing's happening, where it's like you want to just sort of really feel the magic in every moment. But also, like I said, this is really, you're changing your mind about something. And maybe you're changing your mind about changing your mind, if that makes sense. Maybe it's like, maybe you made a recent mental decision and you're kind of going back and be like, no, actually everything is fine. It's better than I thought it was. It's just, that eclipse hit me, that eclipse it hit everybody deep. So, in the eclipse for you, it kinkunks your energy. So, it's the awkward stare from across the room, right? We also have to consider Neptune is in your sign, and it is trining Jupiter. So this is really about believing and trusting in the universe, trusting God, that miracles are all around us. Let's see what else we have in store here. That Nine of Wands energy is really kind of interesting. I kind of want to draw a card to see what exactly it is that you are preparing for, or maybe even worried about. Oh, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So literally just about whether or not you're moving in the right direction. The Wheel of Fortune, it's in many ways it's a card of fate. So maybe you've been worried about your own fortune. Maybe you've been worried about your own fate, whether or not things are moving in the right direction. And I think a lot of this has to do with just the slowness of all this energy. When you have 7 energies retrograde, things can be very slow. And Pisces, you don't even necessarily mind things being slow. But even for you, this is kind of overwhelming. Especially, Neptune is in your sign, so is retrograding your sign. So you even are having to be more so just trusting that things are working out, trusting the flow of things. It's been tough having these energies retrograde, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But the interesting thing about it is that with these energies retrograde, it's kind of essentially, it's kind of like the water is being pulled back from the tide, and with so many energies retrograde, the ocean levels have risen, and it's you're okay in the deep water, but now it's taking even more for you to get to shore if you need to. So it's the tides have risen, and there's so much emotions to cover. So that's why the moon is reversed here, is because maybe you haven't been feeling abundant, but you actually are abundant. Maybe you haven't been feeling your purpose, but maybe you actually are living your purpose. It's just requiring you to change the way that you look at it. It's interesting with all of the mutable signs, which I'm filming these first. The overall theme seems to be perception. It is the axis of perception, but there seems to be some sort of theme of changing the way that you view things, changing the way that you look at things. So it's interesting with the Wheel of Fortune, the Nine of Wands, that the thing that you're afraid of is not a person, it's not a thing, it's not really an event, but the Wheel of Fortune, it's literally your destiny. You're kind of worried about your destiny, right? Let's see what else we have here. Just to kind of close out these cards, then we'll draw another Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. That's one card that just fell out. You have the Queen of Wands appearing again in another reading. Queen of Wands. What else do we have? I'm going to draw that card, and I'm going to draw one more card. Oh, interesting. You have the Death card. Card of Transformation. It's the Phoenix Rising. Queen of Wands. You also have the Strength card. The Strength card with the Death card and the Queen of Wands. There's definitely a shift, a major shift for you that is happening, where you are having to really transform And what I feel like this is that you are transforming the way that you view your own strength, the way that you view your own confidence. I think what's happening is that, you haven't necessarily been feeling 100% confident about your day-to-day reality, which is why something needed to change. But this is about you renewing your strength, you renewing your confidence. And then the Queen of Wands, I actually do see this as a person. I actually do see this as a fire sign, Aries, a Leo, or a Sag, which I'm going to probably say it's a Leo. I'm thinking it's going to be a Leo. It might be an Aries, but I'm feeling more Leo because I think this person is going to show you that, and it's funny that I say Leo because Leo is the fixed sign, but ironically this person is going to show you the benefit of change. And I don't know why I'm feeling that, but I think this person is going to show you what happens when you turn up your confidence like 7 notches or however many notches. When you take it to the next octave, this person is going to show you what happens, because they're going to be kind of playing this beautiful harp, or they're going to be playing their heart, and you're kind of notice it. And this person is really actually going to take you out of your head and put you into your heart. That's really what this is, because since you've been so ironically stuck in your mind quite a bit lately, and now that we have several planets that are retrograde that have to deal with the mind, and there's not much energy going forward besides the Sun, which always goes forward, which is in Leo. We have Venus, which is going forward at its home in Libra, which in many ways is with the heart. And then, of course, we have Jupiter going forward, which is in Scorpio, which is a fellow water sign, but Jupiter represents fire and wanting to expand and stuff like that. And in many ways, it rules the high mind. So there's not a lot of energy going forward right now, Pisces. So this is really a renewal in your strength, in your spiritual strength. This is a renewal, and the way that you renew it is by playing to the tune of your heart. And there's going to be a fire sign, a really important fire sign for you that's really going to help reveal this for you and show you how it's done, But with the Death card here, there's definitely a transformation on the way that you look at your life. There's going to be a transformation in your day-to-day life. And I even feel this as the Pisces moon because, as you all know, I shifted my schedule around to where I can do this more, so I can feel better about, how things are moving and stuff. So I'm right there with you on this. This card did a cool thing when I was shuffling it. It literally flipped and spun around. And it's the third eye chakra, which is the frequency of the third eye. The indigo flower of life supports our intuition, our inner knowing, our imagination, and psychic powers, which is beautiful. What's also cool is that the number on this is 6, and the number on this one is 12. So it's literally half of each other. And if you add 12 plus 6, that's 18, and then we had this new moon solar eclipse at 18 degrees of Leo. And if you thought that I kind of just bended things so that could work in my favor, well, it was presented to me, and I just did the math, and that's how it works. That's how magical this world freaking is. And I have a piece of that because my moon is there, but especially if you have your sun there or your rising there, you really do live this and you walk this. So I would say, let go and let God. Which I wanted to tell all the mutable signs that. Let go and let God. You don't have to worry so much about the big picture. You really don't. Yes, you're wanting to develop some vision and some clarity, but know that things are shifting. Things are changing. And that it is okay to not know exactly how things are going to go. Like I said, this eclipse was in your 6th house, so you do kind of want to know about it. But if you follow your intuition, and if you just trust that the universe is guiding you in the right direction, then you will find yourself feeling that 10 of Pentacles energy, and you'll find yourself renewed in your own strength, that things are moving forward, and that things are really a lot better than you probably realize. You kind of need to come out of your head, Pisces, and you need to get back into your heart. That is it for your reading, Pisces. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to theAquarianAdepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often. Ah!